All right, here we go.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the program hosts and guests and are not necessarily those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time for Martin County Movers and Shakers, and now, here's your host.
Well, hello, everyone, and happy June. Anna Valencia Tillery here, your happy hostess with the mostest, where we get to discuss where to go, what to try, and how to give back. And here in the studio today, I have some incredibly handsome and entrepreneurial young men, which I can't wait to share their story and their successes with everyone. However, before we delve into that, I would like to give a shout out to the over 25 locations throughout Martin County that stepped up to host boxes for the 7th annual Summer Food Drive, sponsored by White Glove Moving and Storage. It is certainly a community effort to be able to bring a number of non-perishable food items to the Treasure Coast Food Bank, where then they distribute those goods to over 200 soup kitchens and food pantries throughout the Treasure Coast, which of course is Martin County, St. Lucie County, Indian River, and Okeechobee counties. And of course, in the summer months, kids are out of school, so those free breakfast and lunch aren't something that they're able to get daily. As a result, the demand for those non-perishable food items goes up. So every little bit makes a big difference. White Glove Moving and Storage, movers with big hearts. Your underwriter for Martin County Movers and Shakers is proud to do that each and every summer, as well as in the holiday season. So if you know of anyone who's getting ready to relocate, and if doing business with somebody who is dedicated to the community, who lives, works, and plays here, means something to you, well then, you should mention White Glove. It's always a free estimate. Nationwide movers with beacons, van lines. And again, I am proud to represent them in a number of facets, including here today on the radio, where I get to chat with fellow young entrepreneurs, and they are sandwich artists. Yeah, I've heard that is the appropriate term.
That
You got it.
You're
You
absolutely
nailed it.
right. I'm glad most people don't know that, so I'm glad you're on top.
What can I say? One of my girlfriends, her 16-year-old, happens to work at one of your
exactly.
stores, and he was quick to
Yeah.
to correct me.
To earn
No,
the
it's
title,
a
huh?
sandwich artist. I'm like, well, touche.
You'll be getting a raise.
Right? So we have today Josh and Dan Stepling. They have been in the family business of sandwich artistry since 1989.
That's right.
Correct.
Right? And I believe that collectively your family has a number of stores, upwards of 13,
Yes.
predominantly throughout Martin County.
Treasure Coast.
Treasure
Yeah,
Coast.
all but two are in Martin County, I think. The two up in Vero Sebastian, those were our recent purchases, but by and large, since 1989, it's all been Stewart, Jensen Beach, Port St. Lucie.
And this is where you were raised, right?
Born and raised in Palm City. So
I love Palm City. We're active with the Palm City Chamber. They've been on this broadcast. We're big
Nice.
supporters. It's a great place to be able to raise a family, to say the least.
Absolutely.
So you all went away, though, to college.
Yep.
Right.
And you got degrees in, let's start with Josh.
I study business. And
Okay, how appropriate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I did the usual thing, people I started like pre-med.
Sure,
most people are
big
I'm in pre-med.
ambition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pre-med. It's the cool thing to do when you go. And then, but no, eventually I went with what I was most passionate about. So
Which is something that was sort of in your bloodline at that point.
yeah, it was something we were familiar with, and it made the most sense.
And you went to where?
I went to the University of Florida.
Okay, terrific. And when did you graduate?
2012 or 2013. Yeah.
He's like, it's all a blur.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've
That
been
was a long
immersed
time
in
ago.
business since then,
Back in those days, I don't know.
right? And Dan, how about you?
Well, I went to UCF. I did the same thing. I was pre-med for the first 2 years, and I think I was studying how atoms split and stuff, and I was just like, you know what, this isn't for me. And I just figured I did marketing as well, and Josh and I had graduated, and me and Josh were just talking about it, and we decided, why not go back into the family business?
That's something live, breathe. It just
Absolutely.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit more for simpletons like us. Atom splitting is a little too complicated.
Yes.
Stick with the
I
sandwiches.
can understand that.
Yeah.
Right, let's talk meat and cheese.
Let's
Yes, I
talk
get
it.
it.
Absolutely.
I get it. And now collectively, the family owns 13. However, you
Right.
two together own 4.
Right.
Yes.
And that includes the 2 newest additions in the Northern Treasure Coast.
Yes.
Which shout out to UCF. The president of White Glove also went there. He's a true Knights fan. And of course, in the Vero and Sebastian area, the subway is a tremendous community player. So
Absolutely.
let's touch on that a little bit because our listeners are saying, listen, I go there weekly. I know these stores. Perhaps I've even met these guys.
Probably,
Sure.
yeah.
Right? So you all work within your own stores as well? You show face?
Yes, we definitely show face. When we first started, we were in there 60 hours a week, working the front lines.
Sure.
Obviously things change as you grow. You just can't do it, as much as you used to. But we're absolutely very involved in the stores. Showing face, going in. Obviously, it's good for the business, but it's really good for the employees as well. Yeah,
It does, yeah. It creates a better sense of loyalty when the employees know that ownership is involved and cares.
Sure.
It makes a big difference.
Sure. Absolutely.
That's exactly right, because for us, we were in it and we were working it hard and we loved it. That's what we knew. Like when we were in high school, we were up before high school, going to the stores, we were closing the stores. But when it came to it, we were working 60 hours a week, but really the best thing to do was empower our employees to do tasks that might be managerial in form. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So us stepping back, allowing us to grow, get another store or two, and at the same time empowering people who have helped us so much.
One of the things that I'm most proud of in my White Glove Moving and Storage team is the fact that a number of our team members are second generation. Have you seen some longevity, especially with the family having owned them since '89, longevity in any of the employees with their different stores?
For sure, absolutely. We always get former employees, especially their sons or daughters coming in and working.
Right?
Oh yeah, we've 1989. I guess it is 3 decades, but that's
Oh my
that's
goodness,
crazy.
it's
Wow.
spot on the money.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary!
Wow, right? Yeah.
Yay!
It's almost my birth. I was born in '89, right after my father got his first franchise.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah,
So
so
it's
it's 3 decades. So you see a lot of that, So and like you said, it's really cool. It's
Yeah.
really cool to see them come back in and people who I haven't seen since I was 6. It's just it's cool stuff. So
I love that.
Yeah, we have people that work within our store that have been with us since we got the franchise in 2013 or 14.
Oh yeah.
They've been with us since day one, literally.
That's tremendous.
Right, and
Yeah.
my father has people that have been with him for a decade more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah.
And from that to, we also have high schoolers who we employed to fill in the voids when we were working 60 hours a week, who are coming back now, graduating from college, and saying, "Hey, Josh, hey, Danny."
Why they transition
Saying,
and
"Oh,
all
man,
that stuff.
yeah, I'm looking back on because for us it really is, when people work with us, even if you're a high schooler, we know when we were there, we wanted to learn skills and we wanted to really know how to make a customer experience great, how to not only do a job but be good at it, and in the end make sure it's something that you can take pride in."
As a public relations and branding specialist,
Mhm.
I feel strongly about the Subway brand. It is always full of positive connotations. So, of course, it's a great franchise to be a part of, and you can feel a lot of confidence in being able to market with them. One of the biggest attributes of Subway is their support and being able to give back to the communities in which they serve. And I know that here along the Treasure Coast, in the past 3 years in particular, we've been hit by a number of large storms. And I do believe that your family was able to step up and help support a number of first responders. Can you share some of that story with our listeners? I know that you have some loyal customers that you were able to call upon and as a result be able to help.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I'll let Josh touch up on the firefighter, how we got started with that, because that's kind of what kicked it all off, and then maybe I'll go on after that.
They were, long story short, we have guest relationships within the community that we've built through other community involvement. We have a cousin who's in the Stewart Police Department.
Okay.
And we have a lot of relationships that when the time came, we just had people on speed dial that came top of mind, and we knew we could play a role. At that point, people were expecting, I don't know if you remember the last one we got hit with, I think it was Matthew, that people were expecting a
Sure.
really tough.
We were supposed to get
We were-
head on.
And I think up north
Melbourne
where they
got hit really
hit.
bad,
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
And so we really wanted to make sure, hey, look, when the time comes, we want to make sure we're playing a role as much as we can.
That's tremendous. It's
Yeah.
really important because, I mean, food is fuel. And when
Oh,
we
yeah.
have to
Yeah.
work these long hours
Oh,
and
yeah.
help with recovery efforts, it really does make a big difference. You also are very active in things that aren't necessarily critical storm related, like annual beach cleanups.
Yeah, absolutely. That is definitely, we're passionate about everything that we do and everybody that we help. But that one was really important to us. We reached out to Citizens for Clean Water. That's what kind of kicked it off. Just because we all, as locals here in Florida, saw the devastating impact that pollution had on our water and our society here. Because, there was so many weeks, even a month, where we couldn't even go in the water. Even
Yes.
much longer than that. So, that's what kind of kicked all that off. And we really just, after the Citizens for Clean Water, we went and did a couple more and ended up giving away, I think, like 1,000 sandwiches. So,
Oh, really?
yeah,
That was just one event.
in one event, and then did a couple hundred again, and
We
it
have
was a
some
lot of fun.
we have some close friends that are either directly involved with or work in Keep Art Beautiful too. So that kind of went hand in hand.
They're
Yeah.
a partner of the show.
Oh, they're awesome.
Yes, we enjoy that organization immensely. And
they're great.
I always say, my son, he's getting ready to turn 13 this year. However, since he was little, I served on the board with Keep Florida Beautiful and the subsidiaries. And you can instill within young folk and even ourselves as we continue to train ourselves to be able to be personally responsible for the trash that we bring, not just to the beaches, but to the parks and other areas, because all roads lead back to the waterways here
Sure.
along the Treasure Coast. And it's just so impressive to see my child say, oh, wait, and he'll stop mid-walk,
Mhm.
mid-conversation, stop and pick up something and know where to put it,
For sure.
water
That's great.
bottles or whatnot. And so when you get hundreds of volunteers to come together on these organized beach cleanups, and they're able to really get within the mangroves, get within the sand dunes,
Sure.
get within these different areas where we don't necessarily track, yet there is an accumulation of unnecessary trash, it
Mhm.
really makes a big impact.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah, I guess we see it being here. It's such a fragile ecosystem. You know what I mean? Some
Sure.
people might not see it in a place where it might be a little bit more hardy, I guess. Maybe in like a desert, you can drop something and you're not going to end up with green water. But unfortunately, we're in a situation where there were a lot of externalities in Florida, and we found out how fragile this ecosystem really can be if we're not behind it.
Yes.
And for us, we got together and originally, we've cared a lot about this community, obviously. We want to leave a legacy here. We're going to raise our kids here just like we were. But at the same time, we said, look, the best, my mentor up in Gainesville, she always told me, the best marketing is going to be organic, doing things you care about. And that's what we wanted to get behind,
I completely support that, as well as $5 sandwiches. I love that notion, honestly. Let's delve a little bit into the actual stores themselves, some of the trends that you see happening with your customers, touch on store hours, all that sort of thing, because it's important for folks to know just how accessible these local Subways are.
Yeah, we open most of them at 8 and we close at 9. As far as trends go, we're definitely put more meat on our sandwiches these days, because I think,
Really?
like people were saying with Subway, they like the price, but they also want more meat.
Ah.
So we're trying to touch on all those points, and so far they've been successful with it. So
I like that.
Sometimes you just got to do it for the people.
That's right.
You
just
do.
gotta
You
do
got
it
to
for
give
the
them what they
people.
want.
You just
I
gotta do
see
it.
a lot of folks up by me do the chopped salad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, is that popular?
Oh,
Are
my
you
gosh.
noticing that?
It definitely is for the people who know about it, and we've even marketed it so much. But the people who do find out about it love it, because
Yeah.
it just takes, a lot of people don't like bread, and if they don't want to scoop out the bread or get a smaller portion, they can get that salad, and it's delicious. If you've had it, it's good stuff.
Mhm.
And breakfasts were not always the thing with Subway,
Mhm.
with you mentioning an 8 a.m. start time.
Yes.
Breakfast came a few years ago, I presume. When did that launch?
It actually came about, I would say, it's been actually around for a while. It just never really took off because, they keep it available because it doesn't really hurt anybody, the stores per se. But it gives that extra option to customers. And thing is who knows if we're ever going to climb to where McDonald's is, and that's where people and Americans think of. Also, most Americans think of breakfast places as joints that have great coffee, and that's something Subway really doesn't have.
Yeah.
So it's, even though our food options are much better than per se, I don't want to go at competitors, but their substantial competitive edge is their coffee choices, which we would really, if you wanted to be serious to enter that game, we would have to play by the rules and get some good coffee, some
Right.
cappuccinos and lattes and all that stuff.
Although y'all have good iced tea.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
a nice strong.
Oh, for sure.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what that usually drives my days. A mix between chicken bacon ranches, chopped salads, and unsweet iced tea.
Sure.
That really is. I might grab a double chocolate chip cookie from here.
Touche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's edit that out.
Yeah. Edit the
I think
maybe.
you'll be just fine, Jeff.
Let's say.
Yeah. Edit the maybe part. He does it every time.
Uh-huh. The maybe. He's like, calls him in ahead of
Yeah.
time. He's like, I'm going to need a fresh batch.
Oh, yeah.
Pop
Oh,
him
yeah.
in.
Just text me when you're baking.
Right? He's like, I know people around here.
Oh yeah.
So then, if that is some of the trends that we're seeing, and the fact that breakfast is a nice option for folks to be able to have, and I've seen, I'm friends with a number of people who RV and camp regularly, and they love the option of having a Subway breakfast because they're on the road anyhow, and they like to be able to get out and stretch their legs. It's not like they want a drive-through concept.
Yeah.
So I certainly see it making sense. What would be, and let's start with Dan,
Okay.
your favorite, okay, let's start with your favorite bread, okay? Because we all say we might not eat a lot of bread, but
Oh
you
yeah.
guys
Well,
have great options.
At the end of the
thing
day,
is
Right.
yeah, it depends on what kind of, if I'm health conscious, then I got to go with wheat, and I'm scooping the bread. But if I'm just trying to indulge, I mean, it's the Italian herb and cheese 10
Exactly.
times out of 10. Like if we're going for
It's my
taste.
weakness too.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's
Delicious.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
I have to double down on that because the Italian herb and cheese is awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
I go
It's so
honey oat.
flavorful.
I mean, honey oat, you get even an extra gram of fiber than you even get in the wheat.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you scoop out the bread, which is really easy, that takes out like 20 grams of carbs.
Ah.
So, but you get an Italian on Italian herb and cheese, toasted with provolone.
It's
I mean,
timeless.
I've been
It's
eating that
timeless.
since I was
Timeless.
5 years old. I get sentimental to say it.
Look at it.
I'm
Look at it. It's
seriously.
tearing up, folks. It's tearing up.
Okay,
Darn
can we
delicious
come?
sandwich. I love this. Okay, so this scoop out the bread thing. So I've never heard of this.
Sure.
So what are you talking about?
Well, so when I was a personal trainer way back in the day,
They are incredibly fit, folks. I know that you can't necessarily see them without this YouTube link that you
We
can
only
get
have
to
to pay-
later on our Facebook.
We owed a big $50 for you to say that.
Oh, my
yeah,
goodness.
that's right. It's worth it. Well worth it. But when we were doing personal training, people used to, obviously make the correlation. Well, your Subway and you personal trained, is that playing a role? And I told them absolutely. It's the thing is you have to make smart choices no matter where you go. It might be a healthy, even though it's healthiest chains in America, you can find a way to put on a lot of calories.
Sure.
So what I was telling people, I remember one frustrated customer in particular came in and just said, "Hey, I'm not losing this weight." And I told him, "Well, you're getting a foot long. So first off, let's scoop out the bread. So that's going to take, like Josh said, 200 to 300 calories out of your meal right there."
If you're gonna eat it in one sitting, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was also just doing other things. He was getting double bacon on his chicken bacon. Told him, "Hey, there's no
He
magic."
was a high protein diet, sir.
And I supported it. I had one myself right after. But yeah, just the small things. It's just what I was trying to emphasize was, with the bread, if you're gonna get that extra meat, you got to get those calories out of there somehow. And a good way to do that is by taking away some carbs.
I see.
So.
Now, every time Subway comes up with a creative new sandwich, which happens, I don't know how frequently, but it seems like seasonally at a minimum.
Sure. Yeah.
How easy is that for the store to implement and execute?
Well, the systems are pretty solidified within the franchise. I mean, we get advertising windows, they call them, so all the franchisees are, we know what to expect, we know how to prepare it, all the employees are trained, the managers understand. So it's pretty seamless. I mean, every now and then we'll get something, a new product or a new, when the rotisserie chicken first came out, I mean, it blew up pretty quickly. So it went
Sure.
from like sort of like a seasonal thing or advertising window thing to, all right, we're going to have to pick up steam on it. So I guess it really depends, but usually it's pretty seamless.
So like, let's use that rotisserie chicken for example. There was a number of ways in which it could be implemented.
Exactly.
What was your weakness, Josh? How did you love it? How
I mean,
did you prepare it?
I just would put bacon on it, throw some avocado on it,
Oh.
and call it a day. Of course, spinach, tomato, all that, but
And Chipotle Southwest sauce.
that goes without saying on a
So
chicken bacon.
now I thought that was like the roast beef sandwich thing. Wasn't that like a
Yeah, well,
match in heaven
That is
by
also
the
another
Subway
match in heaven.
people? Mhm.
yeah. But that's a good thing about Subway. You can never really get tired of it just because of how many sauces there are. So even the meats, if you have the same meat over and over again, you switch up the sauce, boom, whole new sub.
Whole
Yeah.
new sandwich.
Whole new sub.
The
Whole new
Chipotle
flavor
Southwest
profile.
they came out with for the steak and cheese,
Right?
and
Okay.
it's
Sure.
like one of the most popular. The most popular sauce on a tuna is the sweet onion chicken teriyaki sauce, the sweet onion sauce.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
It's just it is really good. I don't usually eat tuna, but I tasted it. I was like, kidding me.
You're like, my customers really know what they're
I've
doing
been missing
here.
this for
Oh
30
yeah.
years.
Oh yeah, they're on it. They're on to something.
So then let us recap for our listeners because I'm not even that versed
Yeah.
with the number of sauces. So let's talk about the various sauces.
Sure.
And so this way, as they're driving, they're thinking, you know what? I was going to go through a drive-through tonight for dinner, but hey, I'm going to pick up subs for everybody instead. What are the sauces and what are some of your top picks for combos?
So,
I know, right?
Oh yeah, this is a toughie, but I mean, I could talk about it for days.
Well, you got 2 minutes.
Love it. That'll do well. That'll do well too. I would say like we were saying, the Southwest sauce is extremely popular. Our new house Subway sauce vinaigrette is very good.
Is it like herby, garlicky? Like, what is it?
Not garlicky. It's like a seasoned oil and vinegar mixture.
Okay.
It's light.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
kind of almost comparable to an Italian dressing almost in a way. It's really something you have to try, but very popular. We just got some new mustard seeds, which are spicy and they're very good. Also, we have the sweet onion sauce, which Josh was just talking about, which is extremely popular, and then our fat-free honey mustard, creamy sriracha, buffalo, teriyaki glaze. So there's really no
There's a lot.
shortage of different.
Wow.
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't even know those existed.
Yeah,
Oh
there's a
yeah.
lot.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
A lot of stuff, Anna.
See? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is exciting. And then real quick, if folks are interested in being able to call upon you fine gentlemen in regards to upcoming events, look at potentially getting some sort of donations for various community efforts, what is the best way for them to be able to get in touch with you?
We both have our Facebooks, our personal Facebooks, Josh Stepling and Dan Stepling,
With 2
I
P's.
with 2 P's, Stepling.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, if people reach out to us there, that's probably the best bet, I mean,
Okay.
most of the people, we've been enveloped in so many different communities through the work we've done in the past, but that's been most of our communication when events are coming up. People reach out to us that way.
Well, social media is so powerful.
Yeah, we
absolutely.
can exchange numbers that way,
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on the show. I always love to highlight young entrepreneurs. We really appreciate your contributions to the community and, of course, for those delicious sandwiches that help keep us going throughout the day. You've listened to another edition of Martin County Movers and Shakers brought to you by White Glove Moving Storage and Delivery. I'm Anna Valencia Tillery. Until next week, cheers.
Bad week to skip breakfast.
All right.
We should have
Oh
brought
my
some.
God,
We should have
starving.
brought some. We
Oh
should have
my
brought some.
God,
It's
starving.
like water is good.
Water's delicious. 0 calories,
Oh, yeah.
man. Well, I'm so glad you were able to make it onto the show. And if you do have any representation up there, I know you had Jackie for a minute for your marketing.
Yes.
And then I believe she moved to Tennessee or something along those lines.
Yes.
If you have anybody, I would love to get them immersed in the things that I do up there, the chambers, the this, the that.
Absolutely.
Since you're, kind of new management, you know.
Absolutely. I have Dana up there, and she's great. So she runs them all up there for me. Like I was telling you, that email, I spend so much of my time down here. It's like, but absolutely. I'll get in touch with you.
I